Hello, my name is Matt Kosch. This is EDL 856, Module 4, Understanding My Community, and my community is Grand Island, Nebraska. Some customs and traditions in Grand Island include Husker Harvest Days, which is a farm show that takes place over 3 days in Grand Island, and it's been going on for the last 43 years. We have the Harvest of Harmony Parade, which is a parade that takes place every October, and the claim to fame for this parade is the number of bands that they have in the parade. There's a very large number of bands. We also have the Nebraska State Fair, which Grand Island is known for. A lot of people know Grand Island as Grand Island, the home of the Nebraska State Fair. And we also have horse races at Fauner Park every spring, which are very popular. Some population characteristics for Grand Island. The total population is 51,267 as of July 2019. The educational attainment, 82.8% of the population has a high school degree. 20.6% have a bachelor's degree or higher. 8% are 5 and under as far as ages go. 18 and under are 28%. 65 and over, 14%, and 19 to 64 is 50% of the population in Grand Island. As far as gender, 50.4% are males and 49.6% are females. Some of the jobs in Grand Island, the largest employer in Grand Island is JBS Swift. It is a beef plant, and they have 3,400 employees. The second largest employer in Grand Island is my employer, which is Grand Island Public Schools. We have 1,500 employees. St. Francis, the hospital, the place where I was born, has 1,300 employees. And Hornady Manufacturing has 751 employees. Hornady manufactures bullets. And for the race in Grand Island, 82% are white. 3.2% are Black or African American, 0.6% are Asian, 31.6% are Hispanic or Latino, and then the white, non-Hispanic or non-Latino are 62%. 2 or more races are 1.9%. And the most common nationalities that we find in Grand Island are Mexico, Guatemala, and India. As far as Mexico goes, we have 5,364 people that are Mexican nationals, and that would also include my wife. For Guatemala, we have 2,242 people, and India, 1,983 people. Some communication channels. What communication channels are available in Grand Island? Well, the city of Grand Island uses Facebook and Twitter to communicate information with the people of Grand Island. Grand Island Public Schools also uses both Facebook and Twitter to communicate with families as well as Instagram. As far as the TV stations in Grand Island, we have KSNB, which is a Fox affiliate, and we have KOLN, which is a CBS affiliate. The local newspaper in Grand Island is the Grand Island Independent. How extensively are they used? The City of Grand Island and Grand Island Public Schools post daily on all forms of social media. Both also use the local TV stations and newspaper to communicate with the community. Which ones are most effective for reaching different segments of the public? Facebook is the most popular social media site for both the City of Grand Island and Grand Island Public Schools. I would say Facebook just has to be the most effective. It's the quickest, and everyone seems to have Facebook. Some community groups in Grand Island, and these are just a few. There's a lot more. We have the Central Nebraska Humane Society, which takes care of animals, dogs and cats especially. We have the Good Samaritan Society, which they do work for people. We have the Crisis Center, which helps people with any kind of crisis that they may have. We have the Central Catholic Development Foundation and the Grand Island Public Schools Foundation. Both of these organizations raise money for schools. The Central Catholic one is for the Catholic school in Grand Island. We have Heartland Casa. We have Hope Harbor that takes in abused women and children. We have the Multicultural Coalition, the Salvation Army, which helps a lot of people that are down on their luck. We have the YMCA, the YWCA, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Nebraska. We have Boy Scouts of America, Compass, the Grace Cancer Foundation, which also sponsors a yearly marathon in Grand Island. And we have the Crane Trust. Well, Grand Island is known for the yearly migration of the cranes. So there's a community group that deals with the cranes. As far as leadership in Grand Island, there's the Greater Grand Island Community Foundation. We have the Knights of Columbus. We have the Grand Island Area Chamber of Commerce, the Grand Island City Council. And I would also like to mention a local business leader by the name of Ray O'Connor. He is someone that is very active in the community, and you can see a picture of him there on the left. Economic conditions in Grand Island. Well, one thing that we're very excited about in Grand Island is in the future, we are going to be having a casino resort in Grand Island. The picture here on the right is actually not a real place yet, but it will be in the future. And as I mentioned before, we have the Nebraska State Fair, which helps the economy quite a bit. We have the Grand Island Senior High football stadium improvements, which cost a lot of money to improve this stadium, and it's a very beautiful stadium now thanks to those improvements, and thanks to a lot of the people in the community for helping out with that. And then we have the Grand Island Economic Development Corporation, which helps small businesses get off the ground. The political structure in Grand Island. The man pictured here is Roger Steele. He is Grand Island's mayor. And as far as the city council goes, here are the members. We have Vaughn Minton, Jason Conley, Justin Scott, Michelle Fitzke, Bethany Gazinski, Chuck Hayes, Mark Stelk, Mike Fowlick, Maggie Mendoza, and Mitch Nickerson. And the Water Resource Board includes Mick Reynolds, Jerry Milner, Jerry Weiss, Ed Stoltenberg, Leroy Ahrens, Alicia Hausler, Chuck Mazer, Barry Obermiller, and Keith Ostermeyer. Social tensions in Grand Island, Nebraska. Some parents and students in Grand Island Public Schools have been very outspoken about the mask policy that Grand Island Public Schools has in place during the pandemic, which would include this past school year and this current school year. This has led to tensions, as many people in Grand Island are strongly against the mask mandate, and there have been some protests because of it. On the left here, this is an example of I would say a peaceful protest. So the people here were not too angry, but they are definitely against the mask policy that we have in Grand Island Public Schools. And here they are outside of the administration building protesting. As I said, it was a peaceful protest, though. There have also been protests by many Cuban residents in Grand Island. These protests are similar to other protests that have occurred in the United States over the injustice in Cuba. So I've seen a little bit of that on the streets of Grand Island as well. Once again, also nonviolent. Some community efforts in Grand Island. So Grand Island has the following projects that were started and completed in the community. In 2001, we built a skate park, which is a good place for people that like to skateboard to go and practice their skills. A place that I really like to go to, pictured in the middle here, is the Grand Island bike and hike trails. I run on these trails almost every day. And a place that I used to like to go to a lot as a kid was the Island Oasis Water Park, which was built in 1993, pictured on the right here. Power structure in Grand Island. I will once again mention Ray O'Connor. He has a lot of involvement and influence in the community. He does much of his work publicly, but also from behind the curtain. Another man that I would like to mention is Tom Dinsdale. He has a lot of power and makes a huge impact in the community, both in front and behind the scenes. Both of these men have donated a lot of money to Grand Island Public Schools, and they've done a lot of good in the community. So that is why I recognize them. Multicultural issues in Grand Island. Well, we have a very large Spanish-speaking population, which is one of the reasons why I was able to learn Spanish, is because I can speak it on a daily basis in my hometown of Grand Island. We have a number of Muslim residents in Grand Island, so things such as praying during work and wearing a hijab at first might have felt a little different, but they're not an issue anymore. Just maybe 20 years ago, they might have been for some people. And we have a number of refugees in Grand Island from countries such as Cuba, Sudan, and Somalia. Public opinion in Grand Island. The best way to gauge public opinion on something, in my opinion at least, especially relating to Grand Island Public Schools, is just to go on to Facebook and read the comments. Sometimes those comments tend to be negative, but you will definitely hear some opinions, that's for sure, whether you want to hear them or not. A good way to increase public understanding, support, and participation is by updating the community on social media regularly. And as I said earlier, I think Facebook is probably the best way to do that. Here are my references. Thank you.